Greetings and salutations to all of our listeners here at Club Kayfabe WrestleTalk. I am your host, Chris O'Mealy, joined by Dan Peck.
That's post-Thanksgiving episode.
Yes, so we are all full on Thanksgiving goodness. Glenn Kukan is off.
Later, I'm still full.
Yes, Glenn Kukan is off this week. He is traveling to New Jersey to see his family. He will be back next week. So for those of you listening on Spotify, this is our 279th episode we have recorded. But for our new Spotify listeners, this is only the second episode. So greetings to all of you guys. And I'd like to give a special shout out to our wonderful new sponsor, the Filling the Void Podcast Network, which has been kind enough to host us, dropping episodes every Sunday right here on the Filling the Void Podcast Network, unless you're listening on our YouTube channel, in which case you're hearing the episode a day early.
Oh, it's that day one-ish.
So, hello to everybody! And of course, please check out the Club Kayfabe Creative Community, my community that has been hosting all of these wonderful shows, as well as other forms of creativity. You can check us out on Facebook at CKCC Online. You can also check out CHMR's Ring Rust, The Blake and Sal Show, Clerk's Minute, the MDX Podcast, the Cinefan Podcast, Politically Incorrect Racing Podcast, and J Bunny's Music Hub for more of that listening goodness. And if you're into artists and cosplayers, check out Bindman Art with Brian Bindman and Heather Quinn Cosplay.
Yeah.
I think that covers the plugs for the week, so let's get to the Wrestle Talk.
And now into content. Now, Chris, I told you this week I had an idea. I want to start every episode with a trivia question, and I'll answer it later in the episode.
Sounds good. You got a trivia question. Maybe I'll know the answer.
All right. So Shane Douglas won the NWA title in that famous tournament where he threw it down and was like, "No, NWA sucks, ECW, brother."
Yes.
Well, they eventually had to crown a new champion. Who was that new champion?
Ooh. And when will we receive the answer?
Before the segments.
All right. I don't think I know the answer to this one, so I'm looking forward to hearing who it is. Maybe I'll try to venture a guess. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, let's move on to what happened over the past weekend. Other than I leveled up to 34, so I am now in year 35, which I will complete next November. But two pay-per-views happened: the NXT TakeOver Special WarGames, which I did not see live because I was having fun at a big-ass arcade and go-kart track in Wyomissing, Pennsylvania, which was awesome. And then, but I watched it when I got home, and it was so damn cool. Now, first of all, if you listened last week, I predicted TakeOver was going to be better than Survivor Series. Would you care to guess that I was correct? By a long shot. So we're going to go over what happened here. Your three pre-show matches all aired on NXT TV this week, which, of course, a Keith Lee showcase where he defeated Fidel Bravo, and a Lars Sullivan showcase where he defeated Keita Murray, Grand Slam Wrestling alumni. Remember the Backbreakers Training Center, same place where I trained. Keita got to be in EMT during the Ronda Rousey segment on Survivor Series, and then he even wrestled a tag team match with a PWG guy, where they defeated The Miz and Shane O'Mac on SmackDown, so he's been all over. He's definitely getting a look, and I hope they sign him. That would be a great sign for them.
Well, he won a match on television.
And yeah, and he picked a good tag team partner, because his former tag team partner might be serving life in prison. So, things like that. For the same reasons as the James Ellsworth stuff, which we'll talk about when we get to the dryer sheet news. Which may or may not be true. Best match, of course, was Nikki Cross and Candice LeRae, which you obviously know I'm a big fan of them if you've been listening to the show. Their showcase was very good and could have been worthy of a TakeOver match had they been given more time. Of course, the whole thing was done to set up Keith Lee and Lars Sullivan in a confrontation, and they're going to meet on NXT TV. Whether or not Lars will be called up to the main roster, which we'll get to in a little bit.
Yeah, there's even newer news on that.
Oh, yes, indeed. So, they did the pre-show thing with Matt Riddle, and Cassius Ohno interrupted, and Matt Riddle was just like, well, I don't got a match, and we're supposed to meet next week, but how about we do this now, bro? Cassius Ohno's like, I'm going to knock you out, and then 7 seconds later, Matt Riddle won the match. So, of course, Meltz didn't really review it, but, 7-second match.
Bro, no.
Bro, no. That's exactly what happened. Which, you know what? A 7-second match like that actually makes sense because of Matt Riddle's MMA background. So
if he can catch you.
Yeah. So it actually makes sense for the gimmick. I know we generally crap on tiny matches like this. Go back and see Rock versus Eric Rowan and how bad we crapped on that. I believe that won our Fabe Award for Worst Match of the Year. So yeah, but this worked. We had the 2 out of 3 falls match for the NXT Women's Championship. Shayna Baszler does defeat Kairi Sane 2-1. And this was easily Shayna Baszler's best match since she has pretty much debuted. Of course, what's really helping is now she's got her 4 horsewomen backup, and they're really doing a lot with them. And the Twitter feud going on between Ronda and Becky Lynch has started to incorporate the other horsewomen. So we're clearly getting a build for an eventual matchup. I don't know if we're actually going to see it, and if we are going to see it when.
Right? Because 2 of the girls haven't even had a match yet.
Yeah. Not on TV, at least.
So
but
we're
apparently
talking
they're doing
we're
good.
going to be waiting for more than WrestleMania, further than WrestleMania.
Although, to be fair, Ronda Rousey did not have a match on TV until she got to WrestleMania, so... So, I mean, they could do whatever they want with that. So, of course...
So crazy. But then we also got, other NXT girls came in to back up Kairi, so we had, Dakota Kai showing up. So,
Dakota Kai and Io Shirai.
That first.
Yeah, Dakota Kai and Io Shirai.
Yeah.
I was watching that, I'm like, oh, Dan would have loved this. Dan would have loved that. So, we also follow up NXT TakeOver WarGames 2018 with 3 Match of the Year candidates. Yeah, not shocking on a TakeOver special, but these are all Match of the Year candidates, and all for different reasons. Aleister Black and Johnny Gargano was a revenge story with great work rate. Aleister Black, of course, wins the revenge aspect, and this match is excellent. The next match was the story of Velveteen Dream trying to be good enough to be the NXT champion and prove himself against Tommaso Ciampa, which he did in spades. Again, while Ciampa retains, Dream looked amazing, so another Match of the Year candidate there. And of course, the WarGames match, I heard people saying Undisputed Era should have gone over in this one. I disagree based on how they built it. The way they actually built this match, it made no sense for Undisputed Era to go over. So, at least that's the way I see it. And of course, they did the spot where they locked Pete Dunne in the cage and they got to get the bolt clippers, and that delays the match beyond. Which, they didn't even call it the match beyond. They just said the match hasn't started yet. But the match itself is excellent. Full of spots, full of craziness, and full of flippy-doos. There's not really much else to say.
Oh, yeah, he did the double moonsault off the cage, right?
Yeah, that was crazy. There's not much to say about shows that are this good because I can't say anything that's going to do it justice on an audio podcast. You have to see these matches to believe them.
Well, I'm going into the show with my mind pre-blown.
Yeah. And once a mind has been pre-blown, it cannot be re-blown.
It can't be on. Yeah.
So, of course, with all takeovers, the worst match was still a great match. I would highly recommend you watch this show. This is going to be up for a year-end award for Show of the Year, for sure. Mm-hmm. For sure. So, check it out. Now, Survivor Series, not Show of the Year. We'll just put it that way. Okay. 2 excellent matches, and then other matches with good work rate and wrong finishes. First thing is the comedy going down on the pre-show in which Team SmackDown actually defeated Team Raw for the clusterfuck 10-on-10 tag team elimination match. Apparently an agent screwed up and the wrong team went over because the whole show was supposed to be a Raw clean sweep.
That's why they just kept saying that they had won them all because Raw was supposed to win, but the agent either didn't get the finish or forgot or something.
So that's what I think is funny is like that's
so
bad when your agent messes up. That's bad. I mean, you can't blame the teams involved. If they went in with the impression that SmackDown was going over, then that's the way to do it. What's really funny is how New Day capitalized in that. They wore a shirt that said 6-1, and Xavier Woods is like, yes, we're the 1 in 6-1. Even though New Day, I don't believe, survived in the end.
It was the Usos.
It was the Usos who won. Yeah, New Day actually got eliminated. In fact, it was Xavier Woods who got pinned. Yeah, after the Shatter Machine, Xavier Woods was eliminated. That makes it even funnier. So the Team Raw, Team SmackDown women's match was decent, except for, of course, the finish. The uber heat on Nia Jax was palpable, especially considering that Los Angeles crowds are notoriously quiet, according to people who've attended shows live there. So the fact that she was getting booed out of the building the second her music hit was plain showing. Now, to WWE's credit, they are rolling with this with the hashtag Facebreaker and giving her a push as a monster heel. To their detriment, they're pushing somebody who has notably hurt 4 girls in a calendar year. So while I agree with this being a good way to get natural heat, because it is, and you should capitalize on opportunities.
Like when Charlie Haas accidentally knocked Lilian Garcia off the...
They actually did capitalize on that, yeah. This is not the best way to do it, and it makes me wonder who Tamina has pissed off because she keeps getting buried while Nia's getting pushed. And they can easily do the entire Nia Jax thing with just Tamina. So I don't get it.
Tamina's problem is that she's the one that keeps getting hurt. So she's unreliable.
Yeah, that's true.
See, if Nia hurts all the other girls, then you have to push her. She's not like most girls. She's the only one not injured.
It's pretty funny because it's also true. Hey. So, yeah. Decent match for what it was. And also, Nia turns on Sasha. Nia literally pushes Sasha off the top of the rope, so she gets eliminated. And then she immediately goes in and eliminates Asuka. And they made almost no mention of it. It was like a passing comment. Like, Corey Graves is like, oh, well, Nia was just proving that she didn't need Sasha to win. They didn't actually capitalize on that either, so... You know, it is what it is. But go on Twitter and look at the Twitter war between Ronda and Becky and then Nia getting involved. And by the time WrestleMania rolls around, these girls getting a main event spot will actually make sense.
Yeah, with no Triple H and no Roman.
Yeah, who else is going to main event?
Give him a chance. Give him a chance.
The next match was one of the best matches on the card. Seth Rollins and Shinsuke Nakamura. They had a pretty straightforward match that you would expect from the two. Of course, Seth Rollins goes over because we already said Raw clean swept. But the match was excellent. Excellent top to bottom. No complaints from me. AOP versus The Bar, I feel like it could have been better. The only real highlight was the fact that Drake Maverick pissed himself, which was a really funny comedy spot because Big Show scared him and he peed. That would have probably made more sense if The Bar had gone over after that, but AOP goes over for the clean sweep, and it's just kind of an okay match, but it didn't really do anything for either team, in my opinion. As far as the Cruiserweight Championship match goes, that was also excellent. Major props for getting these guys on the main card and giving them some time to shine. Mustafa Ali looked excellent, and while he was not victorious, he could easily be your next Cruiserweight champion.
Buddy Murphy.
And now for 3 matches with good work rate and crappy finishes. The men's Raw match was nothing more than we can't eliminate